Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am live with my regular Wednesday morning card class to go. This week, I am featuring the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and the Brilliant Wings dies. And these two items are unfortunately retiring at the end of the month, actually, or while supplies last. So as soon as they're sold out, they are gone. So I really wanted to do one last quick class with these items. I had actually originally done a stamp camp with these when they were first released. And so I'm going to switch over to my desktop so you guys can have a really good look at them, and we'll get started. So this is actually a really unique set, and a lot of people were a little bit shocked when they first received it because this is one stamp. One giant stamp. And the cool part about that is then there is one giant die that actually cuts out. Oh, this image is probably not the same size as the actual stamp. That's why they had to shrink it down to fit it on the front. But this die actually perfectly lays over the real image and cuts out all the butterflies at once. So you can stamp them all at once, cut them out all at once, and color them. So it's a really, really neat set. And then there are these coordinating like intricate dies, and then some fun little extras for the background, like little bricks and splatters and stuff like that. So really, really neat dies to go with this really beautiful stamp set. Now, if you don't like that it's all one piece, you can also always cut it up and stamp them as individual butterflies. But personally, I've never cut mine up. It's also an inexpensive stamp set. It is $25. So I do know some demos and some customers actually who have bought two of it, and one to cut up, one to keep whole. Hi, Kim. Thanks for watching. Yes, it is a beautiful set. So let's get started creating. I think our first card today is my favorite. It is just like so super, here, I'll bring it in a little bit closer. It's just so super subtle and elegant. Now, this stamp set does not come with sentiments. So I've actually, all three cards are created using sentiments from a stamp set that's not retiring. It's the Wildlife Wonder. So it has some beautiful images, but I just love the mixture of fonts and the wide range of sentiments in this Wildlife Wonder stamp set. So that's what I've used for all three cards, is sentiments from that stamp set. All right, so to get started on this, let me just grab my little packet. So the way my card class to go works is you can just watch and stamp along. But if you want to get the Make and Take kit, it's a $60 Canadian order placed with me using my host code. Will get you the Make and Take pieces to create two of each of our cards today. So here I have just a set of one created. You'd get double this. And it comes with your envelopes and everything. So what we want to do is find our piece of white in here. So we've got this smaller piece of white that perfectly layers onto this black layer. We want that piece only to start with. We're going to put everything else off to the side. And this is not the way I would normally have done it, but since our Stamparatus has sold out, no longer available, I'm going to show you what to do if you don't own a Stamparatus. If you do own a Stamparatus, you're going to ink it up and put this in your Stamparatus, close it down, and it's going to be beautiful. But for those of you who do not own a Stamparatus, you're going to want to attach your very large stamp to probably an F block. That's what I've done. It's our largest block. So you're going to want to attach it to an F block, or really to anything else. Like even if you just have like a piece of clear plastic that you want to put down on your desktop, that's going to work. Because when I stamp with an image this large, I don't put my image to my paper. You're just not going to get the results that you want. So as long as this is on a flat surface that has no kind of wiggle in it, so you've got a good table, you can just attach this to a piece of plastic and it's going to work just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some ink onto our image. I'm going to be using Fresh Freesia and Orchid Oasis on like every on every card today. Could you use a Bray? Maybe. I'll show you what I'm going to do though. That's going to get you a really nice look. This is how I used to do things before I had a Stamparatus. So I'm going to take my Fresh Freesia and I'm going to put Fresh Freesia ink on about 2/3 of this image. Okay, so like the top 4 butterflies. And then I'm going to come in and put my Orchid Oasis on just the bottom half. Okay, now before we go ahead and do anything with this, I am going to take a blending brush. And in this case, because Orchid Oasis is much darker than Fresh Freesia, oh my blending brush won't come up. There we go. I'm going to use my Orchid Oasis blending brush, and I'm going to come in, and just where the Orchid Oasis meets the Fresh Freesia, I'm going to use my blending brush to mix those together. Then I'm going to take my cardstock, and I'm going to lay it down on top. And then I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and lay that down over top. And this is where actually you could totally use a brayer or any other tool you have. I just use my fingers and I just go across the whole image. Okay, kind of up and down and then side to side. And the reason I used a scrap paper is because I do have some of the stamps showing and I didn't want to get ink on my fingers. And then I'm going to come in and lift that, and voila, we have our beautiful butterflies on there. So they're just gorgeous. Love them. All right, I'm going to set that off to the side for now. We'll be actually having to clean it and then use it again, and I'll show you how I clean a large stamp like that as well. So this layer, we are now going to attach to that black layer. It's kind of simple. Definitely the Stamparatus was nicer, but if you missed out on that, don't worry. You can still use those big stamps very effectively. All right, so we're going to now attach this to our black layer. Now, when you order the Make and Take kits from me by placing an order with me, you also get a printable PDF tutorial that has all the measurements and all the directions, step-by-step, photo of the card, all of that, so that you can have that on hand and recreate this card with 0 problems because you'll know exactly what to do. All right. And there's always a link on those PDFs back to this video. So you can also access it on YouTube and rewatch this video along with watching the instructions. So we have that background created. We're now going to grab our Fresh Freesia strip. Let's just double check that it's the right size. Yep, mine's perfect. Excellent to go straight across. And we're going to stamp our sentiment on here. So I have got the You Mean So Much to Me sentiment from our Wildlife Wonder. This would also make a fantastic Mother's Day card, you guys, if you have a Happy Mother's Day sentiment that would fit on there. I actually don't have a current, and I think the one I have might be too small. Actually, you know what? I might try it. No, I'm not, because I think it is too small. And the You Mean So Much to Me also works for Mother's Day. And then you get to write the Happy Mother's Day inside the card. And that phrase hasn't been stolen on the front. So I think actually this is going to work out well. You mean so much to me. I've actually already created my Mother's Day card. And it's sitting off to the side of my desk. I just got to remember to mail it on time. That's been my downfall. All right, so we have our sentiment there. You mean so much to me. And now I'm going to do a little bit of die cutting. So I have a small piece of black. Now, if you grab this kit from me, I have die cut your butterflies for you. My concern is that you're going to want this and that sometime this week before you've maybe made your purchase, these dies are going to sell out because you guys, things have been selling out like crazy. And so just in case you don't manage to get yourself the dies, I have die cut the butterflies for you, but you're going to want them. So don't wait. You know, I know a few people waited on those rhinos and ended up missing out because the rhino dies are gone now. So don't wait. That's my best advice to you. All right. So what we're going to do is grab our little butterfly. Now, let's see, which one did I use? Uh-oh. You know what? I'm going to do two different ones because then I can be twice as fast. So I've got two small butterflies and I'm going to use both of them. Give a little variety to my card. On the original one, I just used one butterfly that I die cut twice. So here. Now, I do run these through more than once. Okay, they are a very intricate die. And I want to make sure that it cuts all the way through. So you can see I've kind of passed over 4 times now. I ran it through and back, through and back. All right, so that should have done the trick. And, oh good, they didn't stick in the dies. That's always a nice thing. And if I'm lucky, oh, look at that. Okay, so we'll just pop out all those little bits. There we go. So there's one beautiful butterfly. And this is a sign that my plates might need to be replaced. Everything's sticking to the plate, which makes it easy to clean out the die, but then I got to go clean my plates. Now, we have a tool that can help us with this, but I actually don't know where mine is right now. It's like a little roller brush that you can roll over this and it helps pop everything out. If you don't have one though, a toothpick will do, or you take your pick tool using the little pointy end just to poke out all those little bits. And yes, in your kit, you will have to do the poking out of these because, sorry, I didn't take the time to poke out all the little bits for you. I just threw them in as they got cut, and that's going to be your job at home. Sorry. Maybe if I had kids helping me, I would have forced them to poke out all the bits, but I didn't. So, all right. So I just clean mine by running one plate over the other and into my compost or into my recycling bin. And that gets it all cleaned up. All right, so we have our 2 beautiful butterflies now. I have too much stuff on my desk. Oh my. All right, pop those back onto the plate. There we go. All right, so now to attach all these things together, and because this is a layer of vellum, oh yeah, by the way, guys, this is the most beautiful vellum. This is from the Vellum Layering Designs. You get the black script, one with white script, a little map in both black and white, and also like typeset, like newspaper print. So there it is. I'll pull out the black versions because they're easier to see with a white background. Oh, that's script again. No, wrong one. All right. So you get like a map and here we go, and some newsprint. And then you get all of those in white on vellum as well, which show up beautifully when you're putting this over like a darker background. So it's a really, really cool set of vellum papers. Now, I don't want to be able to see all of my adhesive on here though, so I'm going to kind of pretend that's where I'm putting that. Well, I'm not pretending, that is where I'm going to put it. And then behind here, I like to always use a dry adhesive, so either mini glue dots or Seal or Seal Plus, something dry. You could even use tear and tape. So I've put that there because that's where that's going to get hidden. And then I'm going to put this on. Now I understand that's not going to be enough. That's not going to stay. That's fine. We're going to then place our butterflies and then put mini glue dots behind to hold the rest of it up. All right, so with that done, I can now take this piece. And again, I'm just using dry adhesive because when you put liquid adhesive over top of vellum, it kind of slips around. All right, now you actually can't see that very well. That's awesome. All right, so I'm going to do my best to line that up before I push it down. Now, the nice thing about gluing onto vellum is that because it is a little bit slippery, you can peel it back up if you don't get it straight. All right, so there we've got that. Now I'm going to grab some mini glue dots and attach my butterflies. Here we go. So usually at the top of your butterfly, right where his body is a spot big enough to put a mini glue dot on. And so that's exactly what I did. And then I'm going to take another mini glue dot. I'm going to gently fold this back, find where that dark spot is on the back. And voila, now that is being held up by that mini glue dot. And yes, that is enough to hold it up. Kind of crazy. Okay, and then one more mini glue dot right here. Now this guy's a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to kind of fold it in so that we don't see any adhesive. And put that one right there. Okay, and then I am a little bit worried about this corner, but I know I'm going to put some embellishments up there. So I'm going to put one mini glue dot right where I know I'm going to put an embellishment. There we go. All right, so now we are ready to attach this to our card front and embellish it. So I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to grab liquid glue. And I do use the wider end of my liquid glue, get a little dot, and then just drag it along. And then just take that. I don't want like any really kind of thick layers. And then I just wipe off the excess. So you can see that's really, really thin on there. And then I grab my card base and pop this onto the front of my card. There we go. And then I am using our retiring basic pearls to decorate this. And that is actually my gift to you if you place a $70 order, is a package of our basic pearls. Oh, Kim, thank you. It actually isn't that hard. But, you know, I've also been, my grandmother got me stamping when I was very, very little, and I've been using glue for far too many decades. So, yeah. All right. So when you do this, you're going to get a package of pearls that actually has more than one size in it. There's actually large, medium, and small. I've used up all my large and medium, so I am only embellishing with smalls, just because I don't want to open up another package. But you'll have the option to use any of the sizes and kind of mix and match them, which is what I would normally do, is kind of mix and match the different sizes. So I'd probably do like a large and a small, and then, come on, pick up. Oh, I'm going to use my fingers, and then like a medium over here. And I would totally just mix and match them. But I don't want to open a new package. So here we go. And I think if you use just all smalls, it works just very nicely anyways. It allows you to actually use more embellishments without it looking overdone. So there we go. They're just super subtle because it's the pearls on the white anyways. So it's just a really subtle kind of embellishment. And that is our first card. And like I said, I think my favorite. I like the other two, but this one is just super elegant. All right, I'm going to put those off to the side. Hi, Jacqueline. Thanks for joining. And your name did show up on my screen. All right, so here is our second card. Oh, that doesn't show up very well. I'm going to bring it up a bit closer so you can see the embossing that's there on those background pieces. Okay, and then this is kind of a little fun fold that opens up like that. All right, so just like that. So this one uses the same two inks again, Fresh Freesia and Orchid Oasis. And so here's all of our bits. In this one, I've used some of that vellum again. This time I did use the script, but in white. Oh, and it does not show up well on the screen. Maybe if I put it over a Orchid Oasis background. There you go. You can see the script on there. So it's really, really nice vellum. And we are going to get started by making a little bit of a mess before we put our card together. All right, so I'm going to put all these pieces off to the side except for my two embossed pieces. So these are embossed with the splatter from the Stripes and Splatters embossing combo, 3D embossing combo. And I am going to grab a blending brush that is for my Orchid Oasis. Let's see where I put that. There we go. And I am going to get some Orchid Oasis on my brush, and then I am coming in and almost kind of creating like a Fresh Freesia Orchid Oasis like camo. So I'm not blending one color all over the place. I'm kind of blending splotches of Fresh Freesia. There we go. And just doing, you can do this as dark or as light as you would like. I'm going to kind of do my Fresh Freesia darker and then my Orchid Oasis lighter. Okay, so when you're happy with the color of your Orchid Oasis, we can put away that blending brush and ink, and we're going to grab our Orchid Oasis ink. So there's my Orchid Oasis and my blending brush. And now this one I'm going to come in a little bit softer, or not. And I'm even going to go over top of my Orchid Oasis so that it creates like a different kind of purple, like it becomes this really lovely deep purple instead of a light Orchid Oasis. And you could totally do some that way and leave some light. It's completely up to you. And just keep adding color until you're happy with the color. So going in lighter is always better because you can always darken it up by adding more, but you cannot lighten it. So definitely less is better to start. Okay, splashing my papers around. So there we go. I've got my two kind of background pieces created. And I'm going to set those off to the side. I'm going to bring in two pieces of Orchid Oasis, or sorry, no, one piece of Orchid Oasis. And I'm going to bring back my big block stamp here. Now, I don't actually even need to clean this because I'm just using Orchid Oasis again on it. So I'm just going to ink that all up with Orchid Oasis and get my scrap paper ready. So I'm going to take this, and I kind of want this little butterfly in the top corner. So when I lay this down, I'm going to lay it down so that he's in the top corner. Okay, and then I'll get my scrap paper again, and I'll rub over top of that. So yeah, this is where you could use a brayer or just use your fingertips like I am. Pull that off, and we come in here, and there you go. We have this beautiful stamped image now, and that's just Orchid Oasis on Orchid Oasis paper. Okay, put that stamp off to the side again, and we can start. Oh no, sorry, we have to do one die cut piece. We've got this little guy. We're going to die cut a butterfly for this spot. So we just got that butterfly die, and we're going to run it through. I know, doesn't it look gorgeous, just like the blue on blue? Like you really don't need to do anything with this stamp set. It's so beautiful on its own. All right. So we'll roll this through. And like I said before with the little black ones, I do roll through multiple times because it's intricate and I don't want a piece to not be cut. There we go. All right. Pop that back on the sheet and here we go. So just have all these little bits to pop out now. And so yeah, the intricate butterflies definitely are my favorite. On the next card, I will show you the joys of the bigger die that cuts out all the butterflies at once. But definitely over the years, I have used the intricate dies a lot more. All right. And let's go. Funny, sometimes I'm not sure I'm a stamper. I think maybe I'm a die cutter. I love paper piecing and putting all the dies together. Okay, so let's go clean that off so I can put that away. All right. And now that we have all of our pieces, we're going to start putting our card together. So we've got our card base. It folds in just like that to create like a little little door that opens like that. And oh, I forgot to stamp this. We've got our piece that goes on the inside, but before we put it on the inside, I wanted to stamp it. I totally forgot. So let's move that out of the way again. We'll bring in our butterflies again, and we're going to ink them up. Okay, so there we go, inked up with Orchid Oasis. And then let's see, I would like, let's see, no, we're going to do this side because, nope, actually, ooh, I almost dropped that in there. We're going to do this side so that I can put that side up. So I've got that in place, and then just run it along there and lift it up. Now I pressed a little too hard and I got some inky parts that I don't want on there. So not a problem. I'm just going to re-ink this, flip it over, and be a little bit more careful this time because now I've kind of oriented myself. I know which side I'm working with, and I'm going to be just a little bit more careful. So I want this like that. There we go. So I'm going to put that down. And then when I do this, I might actually not even bother with, no, I will bother with the paper, but I'm going to kind of try to avoid the edge where it kind of goes off and do that just really gently. There we go, much better. Okay, so we just have to be a little careful when we're doing that. So that we don't get ink where we don't want it. So that's my inside piece, and it's okay that there's stamping on the other side. We're going to glue this down. Nobody's going to see it. That's the nice thing about paper is there's two sides. So we'll put ink on the side that I made the mistakes on. Or not ink. Oh my goodness. Glue. Won't stick very well if you put ink on it. All right. Here we go. And there we have a gorgeous inside. Now you can do that exact same thing to your envelopes, to the flap of your envelope or whatever. And actually I can show you a really easy trick for doing the flap of your envelope. Let's do it. So we're going to bring back our big piece. We're going to ink up our butterflies. then that same piece I was using before, I'm going to put my envelope in there so that it is hidden. The only part of my envelope showing is the flap. Now I might have to do this twice because I'm not going to be able to go all the way across my flap. So, and again, be careful with the edges so you don't get ink blotches that you don't want. Okay, oh, beautiful so far. And then we're just going to throw in one more little piece of butterfly. So I am going to ink this up one more time, making a huge mess of my stamp. That's okay because we'll clean it up later. And now I want just a little piece of butterfly here. So I'm going to come in and just along the edge. Oh, and I pressed a little too hard and got a little ink blotch, but you know what? It's our envelope, so it's fine. So there we have a beautiful decorated envelope. Love it. All right, let's get this card put together though. I keep going off on tangents and we're not getting our card finished. So before I do this, I'm actually going to grab my bone folder and close that up. In here and close that up. There we go. Now we've got those pieces that we blended ink onto earlier. Those are going to get glued on here as though they were some kind of fancy DSP. And I'll be honest with you, normally I would use DSP for this card, but I couldn't find any DSP that had the right color scheme that I wanted because I really love this Orchid Oasis and Fresh Freesia look together. And I didn't have any DSP that would work with it. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually have some white DSP with accents on it that I could have chopped up and blended. But you know what? Oh well. We were already using specialty vellum. I didn't need to add in extra specialty paper. So we've got those glued into place. Then you're going to grab the beautiful butterflies that you stamped there and put them onto a Fresh Freesia backing. And again, just liquid glue. Easy peasy. There we go. And now that piece we're going to attach to our card front using dimensionals. So to do this, I'm actually going to flip it over and kind of center it top to bottom so that I can see where I want to add those. And then I'm going to put these on here. So then I can peel them off and glue that down just like that. Okay, so this goes right here in the center, just like that. Now, because we did our dimensionals the way we did, our card is not glued shut. That's important. Okay, now I can put away my dimensionals, and I'm going to grab that little banner that we've got. Now, this is totally optional, but I do really like to do it because it makes embossing so much easier. I'm just going to use my embossing buddy from the Embossings Editions kit to take any kind of extra oils off of that piece. And I'm going to take A Note of Thanks from Wildlife Wonder and just ink it up with some Versamark. We're going to stamp that on the far right-hand side of our little banner. So this banner is from the Stylish Shapes. Love that die set. And then I've got my little tray here that I keep my white powder in, but run this through my little powder pal, knock off anything extra, and then I just keep this on a, what's it called, a keyboard tray in front of me so that I can just pop it away. Now, there's a little fluck in here that I don't want. So I'm actually going to use the pointy end of my Take Your Pick tool to clean it up. You can use paint brushes as well to do this, but I find when it's just a singular fluck, especially when it's close to the ones you want to keep, that using the Take Your Pick tool is a great way to do it. All right, now with that done, we're going to bring this in and heat it up. There we go. That is done, and this is going to get attached to our card front, but I want it to stay on just this front flap. I don't want it to get attached to the back, so I'm going to use just a run of seal on the back, and I'm going to lay it down kind of upside down so I can see where I want to stop. And that is just going to get attached like that. Okay. Next is to attach our butterfly to our vellum, and I'm going to use a mini glue dot to do that. So where are my glue dots? There we go. So I'm just going to put one on the back of this butterfly and then attach it. Let's see, I'm going to turn it so I like the way the script is. There we go. I'm going to attach it there. And then to attach this to my card front, I'm just going to kind of go behind and find the spots where the butterfly is going to hide my glue dots. So obviously one right in the center, right where we actually attached our butterfly. And then I can come in and I see on his wings, he's got a couple bigger spots. So I can come in and attach some glue dots there. And up near the top of his wings as well, I can do the same. There, and one more on the other side. So this is going to really hold this vellum circle to our card front. And I do want my butterfly kind of on an angle. There we go. All right, and then the final thing with this one is to embellish our card, and I actually chose to use the pearls just on our butterfly and to really kind of accentuate our butterfly. So come on, I am going to come in here and just do 3 little pearls right down the center of our butterfly. Now, if you use different sizes, that would look cool too. But like I said before, I'm just trying to use up all my small ones. So I'm just using small ones on this. And that is our finished card. So that is card number 2. And finally, we have card number 3. Here we go. And it is actually a really quick and easy card to create. So we're going to pull out all of the pieces here. Oh, come on. I don't know why they're all sticking. Okay, there we go. Oh, that beautiful envelope there. So what we have is just a basic white card base, and then a layer to go on top of it. And we're just going to stamp about 3/4 of this before we do anything else. So the first thing I actually have to do, because we're stamping with fresh freesia, is I'm going to have to clean my stamp because it's covered in Orchid Oasis. Now, actually, before I do that, I am going to just ink up So you can do this two ways. Sometimes I ink up the whole thing and I use a 6 by 5.5 sheet of basic white so that I can then cut out all the butterflies at once. But I actually have quite the stash of butterflies right now, so I'm going to just ink this up with some Memento black ink on the one butterfly that I want. Okay, so this is a way that you can do it as well with just getting one butterfly. And then I have a little piece of paper that's just big enough to cover that one. So I'm going to put them down. And just like I did before, take a scrap paper so I don't get my fingers inky and just run my fingers over that. Now with this one, I don't care if I end up getting kind of the dark edging around him because I'm going to be die cutting him. And so yeah, there we go. I got the edging and it's okay because I'm die cutting him. We'll cut him out in a moment, but first of all, I'm going to show you how I clean this. So you've got a few options. If you're not going to be using it again right away, you can actually just take it over to your sink, run water across the top. Try not to let it get too much down into the sides, but run it across the top and just rinse it off because we are using water-soluble ink. Now, in my case, I'm going to be using it again right away, so I don't want a wet stamp. So I'm going to use my chamois, and I kind of pick it up, fold it in half like it's a kitchen cloth, and I just start wiping it down. Now, this part of my chamois is going to get really saturated with ink. So once I've done that, and you can see I've got like that big streak there, I'm going to flip it over to a cleaner side and give it another wipe. And you want to press down in some spots, kind of blot it and pick up some more ink that way. And really, we're just trying to pick up as much ink as we can using our chamois like it's a kitchen cloth. Okay, so right now we're just dabbing that red wine out of the carpet. And then I'm pretty sure that that's clean, but then I always kind of give it a little double check with a scrap piece of paper. So just, especially around the edges. And it's not perfect. It's still coming out a little bit blue. So we can give it another go, or for the purposes of today, because I'm just about to put more ink on it, that is clean enough for what I'm doing. So now I'm going to grab my Fresh Freesia ink and re-ink this whole thing with Fresh Freesia. Okay. There we go. And now I don't want this covering my whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take one of my scrap papers and let's see. Oh, you know what? I inked up the wrong side. That's why. I'm like, how did I do this? I'm supposed to ink up the bottom, not the top. That's why. So I'm supposed to ink up the bottom 2/3. There we go. That's better. And then the stamp set and dies are retiring. That's right, Kim. So you want to grab them before they're gone. So now I'm going to lay this down so that it's not fully on. You can see I've left, oh, you can't see, I'm too low. I've left a chunk that's not underneath. And then I'm going to grab my scrap paper and do this. And if I get a little bit of the border at the bottom, it's actually going to be okay because I'm going to cover that up with a paper strip. So I just really want to work on getting a good solid image of the parts that I am grabbing. And there you go. Beautiful. And I'm not worried about those little ink blotches at the bottom because those are going to get covered up. Okay, so with that done, we are now going to get our blending brushes again. And just like we did before, we're going to add a little bit of Fresh Freesia and then a little bit of Orchid Oasis to this in that same kind of like camo way. All right, so I kind of tried to keep Fresh Freesia on the butterflies and then Orchid Oasis around them. But, you know, not in a very precise stay inside the lines kind of a way. This is more just about getting rid of white on the card. There we go. So all my butterflies got covered in fresh freesia. And now we're going to come back in with Orchid Oasis and kind of blend around. Yeah, so in the description of this video, Kim, I do have the link to purchase the butterfly stamp set and butterfly dies. They no longer come as a bundle. They've been in our catalog for a while. Oh, darn it, I went a little too low. Shoot. So when you're doing this, I'm just going to have to put mine down lower than I had planned. When you're doing this, you do want to kind of try and stay up a little ways because we want to stamp our sentiment down there on a solid white background. All right, so there I've added in just some subtle blue Orchid Oasis to that background. And now I'm going, actually, sorry, I need my Orchid Oasis. I'm going to stamp my sentiment on here, but I do have a piece of embossed Orchid Oasis that I'm going to use to kind of be a dividing line. So now mine is going to be a little bit lower than I had planned. That's okay. It still works. And when I ink this, I'm not inking up the whole thing because it says sending birthday wishes. I'm actually just going to ink up the birthday wishes. I love the small blenders. I love them way more than the big ones. You can be a lot more precise with them, and I find that they give a nicer blend. All right, so I've only inked up birthday wishes on here. I did not put ink on the word sending. And I'm going to come down here and stamp that. So you can see this one's a lot lower than my original because I blended and stamped too low. Oops. It's okay. Every card is unique, right? So now we will glue that strip on. I never glue it until I've done stamping, just in case, you know, I totally mess up and then have to flip over and start over again on the other side. It can happen. It definitely can happen. So now this little blue strip goes in right above my birthday wishes and covers up any ink blotches and the edge of my blending so that I've got a nice white area below. So our sentiment really stands out. I actually like this with it lower. Okay, now this piece gets attached to our card front. Just straight up glue it down. Nothing fancy. Okay, so just quickly run some glue across there and attach this. Okay, there we go. And now to finish up this card, we're going to grab that butterfly that we stamped. Now, if you don't have the dies, easy peasy, quick little fussy cut. I do have the dies, so I'm going to use them, but I actually have to go over. Oh, thanks, Danielle. Actually have to go over to my big machine, and I'm not going to bother bringing it into space, but what's going to happen is I'm just going to line that up around there and run that through my machine. Now, if I had stamped all of them, I could just line this up over the whole image and die cut the whole thing. So I'll be right back as I go die cut that quickly. Or not so quickly. Sorry, guys. Might need a little piece of washi tape to hold this in place. We'll see. No, there we go. Got it. Okay. So now that one's not an intricate die, which means I didn't need to run it through more than once. I just quickly ran it through and we're done. Now I'm going to use, are these the right ones? Yeah, there we go. I'm going to use my Fresh Freesia blends to color my butterfly. So I'm taking my light Fresh Freesia and just basically coloring the whole butterfly. Nothing fancy here. Stay inside the lines, maybe. That's about my only tip. And here we go. Just color the whole thing, including the body of the butterfly. Wings and body. There we go. So whole butterfly is colored. And then I'm going to go in with my dark Fresh Freesia, again with the paintbrush end, and I'm going to darken up any spots that they've already made dark. So basically where the little black blotches are, I'm coloring over those with dark Fresh Freesia. And you can see I'm not being like careful and precise about it. I'm literally just dabbing where there's black spots. Okay, and then flip it around and do the other wing. So not precise at all. It's kind of wishy-washy, watercolory. It's just to get that shading in there and give it a little bit more interest. All right, so I'll bring that up close so you guys can see. There we go. Just really add something to that butterfly. All right, so with that done, we're going to flip our butterfly over. Dimensionals on the back. And I just used 3. Actually, no. Maybe I should have just used 4, but now I'm going to end up using 5. You could have just done tops and bottoms of your wings, and it would have been fine. There we go. And we will attach this to our card just so that it goes over top of our little blue strip there. And then finally, we are going to embellish with some pearls, of course. There they are. So I'll bring that in. And this just really is, you know, where do you want them? You can use as few or as many as you'd like. And I always just try and kind of keep to the rule of 3s or creating triangles. So sometimes 5 works because you make 2 triangles, but they share a common point. On this one, I'm just going to use 3. Yeah, I do like it lower, actually. Between the 2, I think that's actually my favorite. So happy mistakes, right? Every card is unique. As much as I try to recreate cards, I am the worst at making cards identical. Using the Stamparatus, I'm a little bit better because, of course, you put your lines and mark it all up. But yeah, I actually like it better lower. So there you go. I'm going to bring in all the cards from today and show you guys. So this is what your card class will end up creating for you, is 2 of each of these cards. Oops, let's move that up for you. There we go. So that is this week's Butterfly Brilliance card class to go. This stamp set and dies are retiring, so you don't want to wait and miss out on something. Things are going really, really quickly. And I noticed I'm not the only demo this week kind of showing off Butterfly Brilliance. I think a lot of us are really sad to see it go. It's probably my favorite butterfly stamp set I've ever owned. And yeah, it's so beautiful. So I hope you guys loved this. If you want to get the make and take kits, make sure to place an order with me using my host code. And then before I go off of this screen to say goodbye, I just wanted to let people know that as things are retiring, We are also gearing up for new things. I cannot show you inside of this, but my annual catalog has arrived. And you guys, the things in here are awesome. If you are local to me and would like to pop by and pick one up, please just message me. I'm also going to be holding an event on May 6th in my home where you'll be able to get a catalog, do some stamping with some new product, and also get to see samples of some new product. So if you would like to register for that, you can go to my events page and there's a link there to register for that. And then otherwise, I do have a link in the description of this video as well. If you're not local to me, you can sign up and let me know that you'd like to get a catalog and I can mail one out to you. Sorry about the mess in my background. I'm actually in the middle of preparing for a Mother's Day craft fair. And so lots of little treat bags and stuff getting created to put little chocolates in for mom. So lots of fun going on there. So lots happening, but don't miss out. If there is something that is retiring that you've had your eye on, the sooner the better, because things are going quickly. I know a lot of our colors are sold out. The Stamparatus is gone, all of that kind of thing. So don't wait. If you're on the Stampin' Up! Website, if it's retiring, it'll have a little retiring soon underneath it. And then there's even some items that aren't retiring, but the bundle pricing will no longer be available. So stamp sets and dies that have come together as a bundle with a 10% savings, that savings will be gone as they move into the new catalog if we're keeping them. So you definitely want to grab those at that time as well. So I think that's about it. I'll see you next week. And next week I'll be featuring the Best Day stamp set, assuming it doesn't become unavailable prior to that. That's the cute little cat in a cupcake. And yeah, I think that's about it. So check out my events page. Lots coming up. I also have an online catalog launch happening for those who aren't local or can't make it on the 6th. That will happen on the 7th. And I'm actually teaming up with some other demos. So we'll have a lot to show you. And yeah, that's about it. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.